I'm attempting to make the definitive list of open source startups today. Y Combinator has one list, but it only has 100 startups and those only funded by YC. Then Luna Capital publishes a list quarterly, but again it only has 20 startups and there's a ton of overlap between each quarter. So I came up with this idea when I was browsing PostHog's website, and a rabbit hole ended up realizing that they are also open source. The first thing that I did was to go to GitHub and search how many repositories are there with more than 10,000 stars. We have 4,000 repositories, but most of them are either education based, for example, this Free Code Camp, Build Your Own X, or they are package or libraries, like let's say React. It would have a ton of stars, but it's not an open source startup. So I went to GitHub's API docs and found this search repositories endpoint. This gives me 100 results per page, and I don't need an authentication token to do this. I fiddled around with the API a little bit and found this URL that I can use. So let's go to Cursor, and I'm going to use this new CLI tool that I'm testing, Druid. It's by Factory AI, and I've been liking it more than Codex or Cloud Code recently. So let me copy that URL. This is the public API URL for list of startups, list of repositories, more than 10,000 stars. There is a catch. So here's the catch. This endpoint only returns 1000 results in total. So 100 results per page and 10 pages of results. The workaround for that is start with the number of stars, which is 10,000, sort it by stars and order it ascending. So the first result on page 1 is a repo with 10,000 stars, and if we go to page 10, the last result is 10,558. So we can keep increasing the number of stars and iterating over this URL to get all of the repositories that are above 10,000 stars. Only returns 1,000 results in total. So you need to create stars and all the repositories. What else can we send to the Druid? I think we can send the URL for docs, the docs for the endpoint, and I think that's enough. Create a script to save all the repos. Name the script repos.py. So while Druid does its thinking, I'll go and grab a Gemini API key, because I'm going to use Gemini to analyze which of these repos is education based, is a package or library, or is an open source startup. So Druid's done its thinking and it has a script for me, and I brought the Gemini API key, which I'm not going to show you. Let's try running this file. The script's done running and we have roughly 4,600 unique repositories. In the meantime, I wrote a prompt for Druid, which is, I have Gemini API key in my environment file. I want you to write another script that writes to this JSON reading from this JSONL, and here's the Gemini functionality should work. Take in 300 of these repos at a time. Create a text file with full name of the repo, the description and the ID of the repo. Pass that file to Gemini and ask it to return a JSON of IDs and categories for each repo. I gave it a JSON sample, ID and category. Then the valid values for category are 1. Education, 2nd. Package or library, 3rd is open source startup, and 4th is other, anything that doesn't fit. Now go to AI Studio, write a basic prompt, assign categories to these repos. Model is Gemini 2.5 Flash. Temperature, I can reduce it a little bit. Then thinking mode. Then I've enabled structured output, which is how we get JSON out of Gemini. If I, yes, There's the get code button. So if I do this, I can change the language, which is Python, and I can get this code, copy and pass it to cursor. Here's the sample code for getting structured outputs from Gemini. I have the Gemini SDK installed. Write a basic JSON parser for Gemini's output. In case the output has extra text around the JSON. Format the JSON file in a standard way and write to it after you are done with every single batch. Each batch, not all at once in the end. Retry in case a batch fails. Droid finished writing the Gemini file, which is categorized _ repos.py, and when I ran this file, I got multiple errors from the Gemini API. Seems like Gemini's API is down today. So it stopped at batch 6. It kept creating these batches of 300 tweets. I later changed it to 250. The script failed at the 6th batch. Can you edit it so that it reads from the last ID that was already done? It edited the file and I just ran it again, and I think, yeah, it's done. So we have all of the repos completed. So the result is this category OS startups. So the next thing that I will ask Droid to do, now make the final script to filter the raw data using categorized data. Create the final JSON as os_startups.json. Keep all raw data as JSON, not JSONL, in this file. After running that script, we have this pretty looking JSON of 1454 open source startups. Let me check a few. So does this have post hog? Yes. Does it have LangChain? Yes. So we have all the data, and we'll try to build this into a directory in the next part.